Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Rose Wrights and I write and narrate Miraculous Ladybug fan fiction. Thank you so much to ChocoLuck Chipz for letting me use their amazing artwork in my thumbnail. If you haven't yet, their info will be linked below, so go check them out. Also, big shout out to Cameron who voiced Plagg on this chapter. His info will also be linked below. Thank you for joining me for day 8 of Adrienette April. I will link the previous 7 parts in the description box, so check those out if you'd like. Now then, please enjoy Adrienette April, Day 8. Just Friends. A mountain of heart-shaped cards were strewn about Adrien's bed. Plagg zoomed about, falling into a pile over and over, as if jumping in a pile of leaves on an autumn day. Plagg, you're making it hard to organize these. It's so overwhelming I don't even know where to start, Adrien said, staring at the mess made worse by his kwami flying in and out of the love letters.
I'm having fun, Adrien. You should try it,
he said, cannonballing from an invisible diving board high above the pool of cards. I think I might be a bit too big for that, Adrien laughed. The last splash threw a few cards to the floor. Adrien bent from his chair to gather them, eyes landing on a large red heart. He hadn't intended on actually reading any of them, as most were from insincere fangirls. Upon opening the card, it read, Your hair shines like the sun, your eyes gorgeous green. I look at you and wonder your innermost thoughts and dreams. Yes, your Valentine I will be, our love would be so true. Together for eternity, my heart belongs to you. They answered my poem. Plagg, they answered my poem! Adrien emphasized, shoving the card in the kwami's face. Plagg covered his ears, his tiny arms barely reaching them, his face appearing disdainful.
I heard you, kid. Someone likes you despite you being so loud.
He came to peer over Adrien's shoulder at the neat handwriting. Adrien's face dropped as he looked at the sweet words further. They didn't sign it. I wonder. If they answered my poem, it has to be someone from my class.
I wonder who it could be,
Plagg said with biting sarcasm. His holder looked at him curiously. Maybe Plagg knew something Adrien didn't. But then again, Plagg thought he knew everything. What do you mean? He asked genuinely.
A classmate that's been crazy about you. Crazy enough to write a sickeningly sweet love note. She's just as much of a dork as you,
Plagg said, floating to his camembert stash, lying lazily, tuckered out from all of his card jumping. He shoved one piece down his gullet as if he'd never eaten before. I don't follow. Who are you? Plagg interrupted, cutting to the chase.
Marinette. Duh,
he added as an aside. Marinette? Adrien said with surprise in his voice. Then he thought about it. Marinette. No, Plagg was wrong. Marinette doesn't like me, Plagg. Not like that, at least. She's in love with Luca, Adrien stated as if that were obvious common knowledge.
Sweet camembert, kid. You really are blind, aren't you?
Plagg said, swallowing another piece of stinky cheese without chewing. I don't think. The flustered teen lost his train of thought, examining the letter, rereading the poem a few more times.
Don't believe me? Why don't you ask her?
The kwami said nonchalantly over this conversation. Plagg cared very little about Adrien's love life, noticing that he struggled with girls due to his lack of social experiences, being trapped in the mansion his entire life. Well, Adrien started.
What are you, scared? Come on, are you a cat or a mouse?
Plagg attempted to be encouraging. He was sick of giving these pep talks only for his thick owner rebuffing his ideas. Granted, Plagg didn't give the most well-thought-out advice, but he was sure about this one. Adrien cocked his head to the side in confusion. Cat? I think?
Exactly. So?
Plagg flew to Adrien's shirt pocket, grabbing the cell phone that was almost double his size, ushering it into Adrien's hand. Plagg, knowing the code, unlocked the phone by moving Adrien's finger across the screen in a strategic manner. Fine. Adrien sighed and began typing a message to Marinette. Hey, Marinette. Would you mind meeting me at the park? Just wanted to chat. See you soon. Did this seem friendly or strict? Or does it seem like something that could make her feel anxious? After being at school for nearly a year, talking to people his age never got easier. Time to go prove Plagg wrong. Marinette's phone buzzed a few times and she let out a groan as she stretched to reach it. She read the text, popping up out of the bed. He just wants to chat? Marinette read in a panic. That sounds like a good thing, Tiki said with excitement. Ah, Tiki, always the optimist. No, Tiki. Just wanted to chat has the same energy as we need to talk, except one is trying to be more polite. Marinette flopped down on her bed, throwing a hand over her face, only to immediately sit up again, rereading the vague text. What did I do? I can't think of anything, but... Just go talk to him. That's the way to find out, Tiki said, struggling as she pulled a light jacket from the clean clothes pile Marinette had neglected to put away. Marinette reluctantly put it on, then left to meet Adrien, taking her sweet time. Marinette saw Adrien sitting, looking breathtaking as he soaked in the world around him. She took a deep breath before joining him on the bench, silently. Hello, Marinette. Sorry I asked you to meet me so last minute, he said apologetically. No problem at all. No problem at all. She stuttered, then said under her breath, Jeez, I'm so stupid. Adrien chuckled. No, you're not, Marinette. You're funny. Everyone gets a bit tongue-tied. She smiled at his attempt to make her feel better. Around Adrien, she always felt stuttery and lightheaded, much to her chagrin. Marinette stayed silent to avoid any more word slip-ups. So, he began, unsure of how to start. I got your letter. Letter? What letter? Her face felt hot, reaching her ears as he brought this up. Of course she knew what letter. It took everything in her power to actually send it. After slipping it in the mailbox, Alia had to hold her back so she wouldn't try to break it open to get the letter back. The Valentine? He asked hesitantly. No sense denying it. That letter. She couldn't bear to make eye contact with him. She might not be able to recover. You like me? He carefully asked, not wanting to sound presumptuous. But he hoped the answer would be yes. I do. The word sounded difficult as they left her mouth. I like you, like is more than a friend. I think you're basically the coolest person I've ever met, like effortlessly cool, and... Her hands flew to her mouth as she became aware of her ramblings. Sorry, I didn't mean to say, I meant what I said, but I'm shutting up now. She looked down to her lap where she wrung her hands together nervously, still avoiding eye contact, unaware of the slight smile he sported. Adrien scooted a few inches closer to her. I try really hard. Huh? Her eyes finally met his. To be cool. I try too hard, actually, but even when you ramble, you're still really cool. He said, playfully nudging her shoulder. Thanks, she said, eyes landing back on her hands. And I like you too, as more than a friend. He put an arm around her, Marinette leaning her head on his shoulder, thankful that Adrien also appreciated sappy poetry. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to give this video a big like and subscribe. Also, please leave a comment for Mr. Algorithm. That would be amazing. If you don't know what to comment, say poetry. And as always, stay miraculous.